Hi, and welcome to the Pink Girly channel. This is Lori. Let me just adjust my camera just a little bit here. And this is my May 2022 recording or installment of hashtag second Saturday slash stash 7. And this month, our prompt ideas come from Lisa Conway from Lisa My Eclectic Life. And Lisa has suggested that we use one or all of these prompts: a stencil, a Sharpie pen, paint you need to use up, tissue paper, cardboard, an old book page, and something shiny. I'm still thinking about something shiny. I love shiny, but I just can't think of anything. So I've gathered my supplies. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard as my substrate. And I was recently watching another video and decided, I like what she's doing. And she worked on a piece of cardboard and then cut them up into tiles. Wouldn't that be cool? So I'm going to use this as my substrate to get started. I'm going to jump right in. I discovered while cleaning up not too terribly long ago that I have a box of Tim Holtz Ideology tissue wrap. Bingo, bingo. I'm going to go ahead and use this as my tissue paper. And I'm not even going to put anything on that cardboard. If I can just, I always have trouble with this, even with wax paper, gotta tell you. Excuse me, gosh, I say it almost every time I record. Between the phone ringing, the phone dinging, and Lori clearing her throat. Okay, that looks cool with a butterfly, right? So I'm going to use some Golden Matte Medium to put this down. I could probably use my Yest paste, but I think the golden might be a little quicker. So let me just put this off to the side. I pulled out one of my favorite stencils, and my neighbor, who is now 93, she'll be 94 this year, and she did a lot of arts and crafts in her younger days. And she's been getting rid of some of her supplies. She really doesn't do any of that anymore. And she has given me some little bottles of paint. And I have a hard time throwing things out. And sometimes I talk myself into throwing things out. And then before it gets to the bin, I've talked myself back into it. And that's what happened with these little bottles of paint. And if I'm going to be completely honest with those of you who are watching, I like the little bottles. And I didn't want to just rinse the paint down the drain. It's not crazy. So I'm going to use that paint today in my stencil. I'm not the world's best stenciler. Just gonna warn you straight up. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so I've got a good coat of Golden Matte Medium on my cardboard, and then I'm going to hopefully position my tissue paper in a good spot. Now, I don't really mind. Now, see, I'm off a little bit there. Let's see if we got any wiggle room. Let's see. Now, you know what? I'm just going to leave it go. Leave it go. Now, I've got this extra matte medium that you probably have seen me brushing off to the side here. And I'm just going to use that up. Now when this dries, I will take an emery board and sand off my edges. And that will give me a nice finish. But I really think I'm going to cut these into like maybe 1 inch, 2 inch inchies. Just see how it ends up, what might look better. Now I think Lisa has given us some really good prompts for items to use. Now, long before I started mixed media art and collaging, I was somewhere and I saw this little book and I just thought it was adorable, and it was old. See, I even liked old stuff before I started using it in my art. And we had a lot of primitive and vintage stuff that we decorated our home with. And then when we moved to New Jersey, we kind of packed a lot of that away because our home is a lot smaller than the home we came from. But I still like the old stuff. So look here, this is called Lamb's Tale from Shakespeare. And I must have started gluing it together. Who knows why? But it's from 1920. So I'm going to use some of these book pages in this project. So these are some pieces that have kind of deteriorated and kind of fallen apart. And I'll see if I can set that off to the side. Now my surface is still damp, but I don't think it's enough to really stick my book pages down. So I'm putting out a little more matte medium. And I do have a paper towel here that I can dab off my paintbrush that I'm using. I'm using an old paintbrush that I keep in water that I can then use as my glue brush. And I think I want more of the words, not so much, the edges of the paper. So I'm just going to start putting some of this down just wherever, except for that spot over on the edge here where I didn't get my, maybe that little piece I'll look at over here, where I didn't get my tissue paper all the way over on the edge. So this is kind of almost like a prompt game. Different things that we have to use. So I'm just gonna, now this paper is somewhat brittle. It's tearing very nicely for me, but when I go to glue it down, it's gluing down pretty well. It's not deteriorating or really falling apart, so it's not too bad for 1920 paper. Right? I've got some things in mind for shiny, but if you're literally talking shiny, I'm not sure the items that I'm wanting to use are shiny. I've got some of that angel spray that gives your work a shimmer. Again, not shiny, but shimmery. And I've got glitter. I've got glitter, a fine, fine glitter that I'm dying to use. But there again, it's not shiny to me. It's glittery. So I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to put this larger piece here. No, I like the butterfly. Let's put it down here. I thought about doing another page in my granddaughter's journal. But then when I saw that Lisa had cardboard on the list, I thought, oh, a piece of cardboard might be fun to work on. So there you have it. I still have another little spot over here. I should have used a bigger piece of paper to cover my little spot. Now, of course, I'm going to have to dry this. And I have not figured out yet how to stop my video while I let something dry. So I'm going to have to annoy you with the sound of my dryer. But I'm sure anybody who's watching knows how to fast forward, right? Okay, so I think that's enough paper. It looks kind of cute. Well, you know what? I could probably use a piece over there. Let's see. Let's get that brush back out. Maybe a little piece over here. A little long, narrow piece will sneak in over here. All right. That looks great. Great. All right. I'm going to use my heat gun. My old one kicked out. So I've got a new one with 2 speeds. I'm going to use the embossing speed. Now, let's see. Where's my Lisa list? You need to use up a Sharpie pen, tissue paper, cardboard, old book page, and something shiny. My Sharpie pens are pretty much drying up, but I did find one. I think it still works. So I think I'm good there. This is drying up pretty quickly. All right. Now, it might still be a little damp, but let me see if I can show you. Some of you may not know this. When I learned this trick, this was one of the coolest things I ever learned. But you really want to make sure your work is dry. So I'm not sure that this is dry enough, but I want to show you what I'm talking about. When you work on a piece like this and you have tissue paper or a piece of napkin and it dries, certainly you can use a pair of scissors. But you know, to me, you just don't get the nice finish edge like you could if you just take an emery board, drag down on the side, and look. When that's dry, that comes off and gives you the nicest edge you'll ever want to get. Now on a video, I know it doesn't sound great, so let me just do just a little bit. Cool, right? So that's what I'm going to do all the way around the edge when I'm finished. So next up, let me just clean up my mess here with the Golden Matte Medium, because sure as shooting, I'm going to put my elbow in it, or my hand. I think I already got my stencil in it. I have no idea whose stencil this is, but if you'd like to know, let me, leave me a comment and ask me, and I'll find it for you, because I found it from my girlfriend, Jean. But I love this stencil. So I'm going to start putting this stencil down. And as I said, I'm not the best stenciler. So look, here's some of the paint that my neighbor gave me. And I have 2 blacks. So I'm going to go black because the black lettering on my tissue paper, I think it will look nice. And this is called Woodscape Art Paint. No idea. No idea. But look at these cute little bottles, right? So once that's empty, I'm going to be putting something else in there. I mean, even a little bit of golden will look cute in there, right? Of course, this one seems to be, I must not have screwed that lid on very, very well. Now, I'm just using my Timmy glass mat. I'm going to put my pen out of the way. And I'm hoping that this is not too thin. But this is paint I want to use up. I have this all over my hands. And I didn't think I'd have enough of it, but I've got 2 of them. So I'm good to go. Now I'm just going to grab a sponge. Now this isn't a makeup sponge. This is a sponge I would use like in ceramics years ago. It's one of those little yellowy golden color sponges. I don't know what they're called. It's not a makeup sponge though. But I like the way this looks. So I'm going to work some of the paint. Now my sponge is dry. I'm going to work some of the paint. See, and then I'm going to put it on like makeup. Now I've got that big butterfly there, so I don't really want to go over him too much. So I'm going to start up here and just do a little half flower on the edge. And now I'm going to just go here and there and everywhere. Load my sponge when I think I need to. And just put little flowers everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere. Going right over top of my book paper. I think I'm going to continue to do like individual flowers. I'm liking how that looks. As I go over, got a little bit over here, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. And I think to make your pieces look more pleasing to the eye, if you don't have everything in whole pieces on your piece and you have some of it worked off the edge of your page, I think that helps it look more pleasing as well. I didn't think I'd have enough paint, but this paint is very thin and it's working out pretty well. Pretty well. You just want to be careful picking up your stencil. And if that makes you nervous, you know, you could use your dryer and let that dry a little bit. Now, Maria, from Maria's Miscellany, she has gathered 7 of us gals together for this collaboration. And so you'll want to watch all 7 ladies. But Maria has also invited anyone who wants to follow these prompts to send pictures or make a recording. And you can also upload that. You check Maria's channel. I'm sure she's got info there for you. Or leave her a message and she'll be happy to let you know. Now, see, I kind of like the way these 3 flowers are going here. I was going to go individually, but I'm really liking that. So I'm going to go ahead and not ink. I keep saying ink. Whew. I was recording another video earlier. I haven't used any ink. I'm using paint, and I keep saying ink. I just love this stencil. I'm gonna need a little more paint. That really still looks quite wet. I'm going to carefully pick up my stencil, and then maybe one more little one down here. Portion, a little portion. Now let's see, I've got 7 items. Now see, I like to use all 7 if I can. That's a personal challenge, if you will. You only have to use 1, but I like to use the 7. So let's see. I've used a stencil. I have my Sharpie pen ready. I've used this black paint that I want to use up. I've used my tissue paper. I've used cardboard. I've used old book page. And then something shiny. Now, as far as the Sharpie pen, what I thought I might like to do is just write the word bloom on some paper, because I don't think with the Sharpie pen, it's not a Sharpie marker, it's a Sharpie pen, so it's got a fine tip. If you're not familiar with it, it's got a really fine tip. So I'm thinking if I write on here, you may not really see it, but I'm wondering if I write on some of this book page edge, how that might look. This is still wet. I'm going to hit this with my dryer. Please indulge me. I'm really not sure what kind of paint this is. My neighbor really doesn't remember. When she did ceramics years ago, she did a Hummel technique, and she doesn't remember how that went either. But it's not like, it doesn't dry like my acrylic paint does, and it's a lot thinner than my acrylic paint. Now, in with all those paints she gave me is this embossed art, and that says Dimensional Acrylic Paint. But that's a company, I guess. So I'm not quite sure. I'm wondering how it would look if I just did a little, maybe around my edge with the sponge. Of course, if I'm going to do little squares, how's that look? I feel like I have some gaps over there. You know, I have a, I wonder how that would look. I have a gold Winkostella. I wonder how that would look. That might be shiny. This is almost dry. see if I can find my Wink Stella. Wink Stella, I love the clear. And I bought a kit. Then clear was running out, so I bought a kit with another clear. And it also had a silver and a gold. This is the gold. Let's see. Now this is still a little wet here. If that didn't sound so terrible scraping off that edge, I would do that. But I know it's really is not a pleasant sound. All right, now let's see if I take, I'm trying to give myself a little room to scoop my work up. Isn't that funny? Look, it's all damp underneath. I don't really care for my writing so much, but let's see if I can I don't think if I use this punch, I don't know how this paper will punch. Not too bad. And you can't really see that. Maybe I need to just do something bigger here. Let's see. Did you ever try to write really large? Some people write large normally. I just kind of write medium. B-L-O. I think my paper was wet. Let's see. What else do I have here? Here's another piece. B-L-O-O-M. I don't know, guys. Maybe I need something that stands out a little more. Although I do kind of like that. I could write it all different ways. Let's do a B-L-O-O-M. Oh, I did N. Bloom instead of bloom. Patent 1,000. Oh, look, I've got a big sheet of plain on this side. Let's do B-L-O-O-M. And I'm saying bloom because of all of my little flower stencil. Let's do it again. B-L-O-O-M. Let's put one down at the bottom here. Now I'm wondering how it would look. Maybe let me do a test. I've got a regular Stabilo pencil here, which I think is in really need of being sharpened. But I'm wondering if I put that around the edge of my written word. If that will give it enough. Here, let's try it on the one that I misspelled. I wonder if it'll give it enough darkness, you know, like contrast. To make it pop out on my work. I always forget I have these. That might work. Let me do that. All right, so I'm taking a Stabilo. Can you see what I'm doing? And I'm just making a dark straight line around my word bloom. I might even be able to do it on the cardboard. And then I'm just taking a damp, well, it's a little more than damp maybe, a wet brush, and moving that below. And then when that dries, I'm going to glue those down. And probably use more of my matte medium. I'm trying to get as close to the edge as I can. I don't know, I have to hold this up for you to see. I'm just going to scribble a lot of it here on this bigger word. What do you think? I think that'll do. So I'm going to have to glue those down, but let me get my, this is a Wink of Stella. So let's check our list. Okay, so we used the stencil. I used the Sharpie pen. I used the paint that I needed to use up, tissue paper, cardboard, old book page, and something shiny. So I'm going to try this Wink of Stella. I love Wink of Stella. Love, love, love. I think it might work. I'm going to make hearts. Add hearts to my, you really can't see my butterfly anymore, can you? Just kind of making little abstract hearts here and there. I think we can consider that shiny. If it's not, Maria will have to let me know. So all I have left to do is glue down my little bloom words. This over here, this paint all the way over in that bottom corner is still not dry. It doesn't pop as well as I would like it to have popped. Now, if I had painted white or had white cardboard, that probably would have worked a little better. But I think what I might do is just use my regular glue. See if I can just quickly put these down. And then when this dries, put more golden all the way on top, all over it, to seal this down. But I want to put some Wink of Stella on this paper. Kind of make that pop a little. I've got one more. I'm using an odd number because that's what I like. All right, so it's fun being part of the collaboration with Maria from Maria's Miscellany. And like I said, these suggestions were from Lisa Conway from Lisa's Eclectic Life. So this is our May prompts. I encourage you to maybe do this yourself and then post it so we can see what you do with the 7 items. It's really fun to see how people use the same items in so many different ways. So that's it for me. Make sure you look for us next month for our June hashtag second Saturday stash/7. And I am giving the suggestions for the month of June. So make sure you travel around and check out all the other ladies. And I will see you next month. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. See y'all next month. Bye-bye.